guys, welcome to another episode. I'm Big D. So today I got a special episode for you guys. It's a special day for myself. As I was going through and replying to some of your guys' comments and reading some of your thoughts and stuff that you shared with me in my previous videos, I also got to check in my emails, and I had an email from DoorDash stating that we have accomplished what we needed to be a top dasher. So I'm really excited about that. I know a lot of people say it's not worth it, the program is a waste, but me, I'm one of them types that I want to try it for myself and figure it out for myself, and then I'll develop my own opinion on it. So today's purpose of today's video, guys, and we'll go ahead and get to it. I want to keep this short. Let's go over what a top dasher is, and then we're going to see what the requirements are, and then I will go over my goals and strategies that I used through the month of November and December. It took me like a month and a half to get this down pat to where I could get top dasher, and I'm going to show you what I did because it worked, and I'm a rural dasher, and hopefully this will help you guys out with you and your dashing experiences. Alright guys, so I'm going to take you to the DoorDasher support log page, and we will read about the program. I'll share with you the criteria you have to meet in order to become a top dasher, and then we will go into tips and tricks that I used so that I could become a top dasher in 2021. As we go along, I'll share little pictures and placards for you to be able to see and read along with me, and we'll try to go through this as quick as possible. So what is the Top Dasher program? The Top Dasher program is DoorDash's way of recognizing and rewarding the best dashers. Those that qualify will receive special benefits to recognize their drive for going above and beyond for the customers. So how does the program work? On the second of each month, you will meet the criteria. You will be considered a top dasher. You can access the Dasher Rewards page in the account section of your Dasher app, where you can also view the rewards you will receive for the month. You will have access to these rewards until the first day of the next month. So what they're stating is if you earn Top Dasher through the month of December, it becomes available for January, and you will have it the entire month, whether or not you meet the criteria all the way up until the end of the month or not. You will still be a Top Dasher, but it will end the next month if you're not still above the thresholds for the prior month. Just so you guys know that. I messed up. In November, I thought I had the program unlocked. I was halfway through the month, so I slacked off and I didn't maintain those numbers all the way till the end, so I ended up not getting Top Dasher for December. So you have to maintain those numbers all the way until the end of the month. So how do we qualify for this program? There are 5 key requirements that you have to meet. Number 1, you must have a customer rating of at least 4.7. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in this one because it is a 5-point system. So when you complete a order with a customer, they have the ability to go in and 5-star rate you or 5-point rate you on your services. So to me, this one hasn't really been a true factor because it's generally pretty easy as long as you don't do anything to make the customer mad. Most of the time they will go ahead and will rate you towards a successful 5-point star. And it doesn't count against you if they don't rate you at all, from my understanding with DoorDash. Another thing that you should know is that they are screening negative comments and stuff against your rating that would fall on the restaurant, such as if the order was wrong or something like that, that falls on the restaurant. And DoorDash's vow, they will go through and scan through these and make sure they don't affect your numbers. So that's a good thing to know. My only thought and process into what could cause this number to decline would be not following simple instructions with the customer. So some key examples I can think of would be if you took the food to them, you didn't keep it in a warm bag and it was cold, they might complain about that. Or maybe they had cold items and you didn't keep them cold and they melted, such as ice cream. As far as, I don't know if being late is a factor on it or not that the customer can do. I think it's a different section, but it could be tied into there as well. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with anything negative on this one. Another thing you might look into is the customer sometimes gives you special instructions on delivery options, such as if they don't want a in-person handoff or they want a contactless delivery and then you show up and knock on the door anyways, they might give you a bad rating for that. Some of them put in their specifics, such as they don't want the food on the front porch, please bring it to the back porch, or please don't knock or ring the doorbell, I have small children sleeping. Stuff like that, guys. If you can follow the simple instructions, 9 times out of 10 they're going to give you a good rating anyways. So moving on to step number 2, you must have an acceptance rate of at least 70%. This one is the biggest factor in my book, no matter what. As with most DoorDashers, they do not like this one because they feel like DoorDash uses this one to force you into accepting a lot of the crappy orders. So the way this one works is, as you're DoorDashing or doing deliveries during a drive session, you're going to get hit with orders, and it's up to you to accept and decline these orders. You have a timer that counts them down. When you decline an order, this deducts points out. So in order to stay above the 70%, every 100 orders, you would have to decline under 30 of those orders to stay above 70%. You know, it's really hard to kind of maintain this one because there's so many crappy orders out there. You're like, Big D, what do you mean? Sometimes you get orders that you just absolutely have to decline. They are just outrageous. There's no reason you would accept them. You know, such as maybe I had an order pop up and wants me to drive 20 miles and it's only going to pay me $5. Well, I'm going to be driving 20 miles back as well, so I'm looking at a good 40 minutes wasted time for $5. Wouldn't you decline that? I know I would. Or maybe you have a preference to where you only like to accept orders that are $1 a mile, maybe $2 a mile. You know, those preferences are going to get beat down by this number, especially if you're trying to be a top dasher. You're going to have to accept the orders that you don't like. So one of my tips and strategies to you guys is do like I did. I do a system where every 10 to 15 orders, I only allow myself to decline up to 3 per session. I cut it really hard. I just ended up eating a lot of crow and accepting a lot of crappy orders that I just didn't like to do, stuff that I normally wouldn't do it at all. Walmart is a big factor for me. I generally skip every Walmart. I would pray that I would only come across maybe 2 or 3 per shift. That way I could decline them. But then some days you get days where I had like 9 Walmart orders pop up. I had to take like 5 of them because I just couldn't decline them all. You got to keep that number high, and in my book, this is the hardest one to deal with. So let's move on to number 3. You have to have a completion rate of 95%. To me, the completion rate, it's more of a 50-50. I would rate it the second hardest one, maybe the third. But to me, I haven't had many issues with it. If you accept an order, you generally intend to deliver that order and complete it. But every now and then you run into something hard or something comes up, such as an emergency or something bad happens, you have to unassign this order. When you unassign an order, you take a point deduction. If you have a stacked order and you unassign 2 orders, 2 points, same thing. But this one to me was a little bit easier to control. But some examples would be, you accept an order, you go to the restaurant and you go in and they are slammed busy. The waitress tells you you're looking at 40 minutes before you're going to get this food. So what's your thinking factor? Are you going to wait 40 minutes because you're going to get a point deduction? Or are you going to unassign this and continue to dash because you might get 3 or 4 more orders in and make way more than the original $7 tip on this single order? You got to have that thinking strategy going if you really want to make money at this and be successful. But at the same time, if you're trying to be a top dasher, this is going to be a point deduction. Here's another example. You're out in traffic trying to make a delivery and you get stuck in rush time on the interstate, and you end up stuck there for like an hour. You can just tell it's going to be long. You know you're going to miss your deadline, your time. You don't want the other ratings to go down. What are you going to do? You're going to unassign this order. There's just multiple factors. But another helpful tip to you is if it's something that's just out of your control, you can reach out to DoorDash support, and if they agree with you it's a factor that you can't control, they will unassign that order for you and it will not count against your numbers. Keep that in mind. It's a very good tip that I learned about, and I have put it to use multiple times. So then next up, you're going to have factor number 4, which is 100 completed deliveries during that month. Okay, this one is a little bit harder. Keep in mind that the majority of DoorDashers only do this part-time. Myself, I work a full-time job. I'm working 40 plus hours every week, so it's hard for me to find time off to DoorDash. And to do 100 orders in a month, that's pretty hard. I've known days to where I've put a whole 10-hour shift in of deliveries, up to 12 hours of deliveries, and only done like 25 to 30 orders. This is very hard to maximize. So some of the tips and strategies that I have for you guys are, I plan to do a long day out most of the time on my short weeks versus my long weeks at my regular job. And I generally don't like to do 12-hour shifts anymore. If you're familiar with DoorDash, there's 3 peak times: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have a set time window of which generally most of the crowds tend to order within those time windows. I've learned that it's easier to maximize my driving time by not working full shifts all the way through and having hours of downtime in between those time slots, and I'm able to get a lot more done that way, and I'm able to manage it and get more orders in. So another factor that I've learned is I like to stop off, like let's say I'm going to pick my kids up from school. I have an hour to kill before time to be there. I'm already in town. A lot of times I'll stop and do an hour session. I might catch 2 to 3 orders. You might not think that's a lot, but if I do that 4 to 5 times a week, do a dash for an hour here and there, sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day, I pick up an additional 15 to 20 orders. Think about it. If I dashed an hour, 1 hour, and generally caught 3 orders each time I dashed that 1 hour, and I did it 7 days a week, that's 21. 3 orders times 7 days, 21 orders. Definitely a factor. So dash when you can and dash when you know you're going to get orders. That's a key factor to me that helped me get successful enough to earn Top Dasher, even though I am only a part-time dasher. So then last but not least, you must have 200 lifetime deliveries completed before being eligible. This one's just one of them guys, you've got to put some time in, get the hang of it before you can even be a Top Dasher. It took me about a month and a half to get 200 deliveries. Honestly, it took a little bit longer than that if I'm not mistaken, but I was putting a lot of time into this and I had to cut back because I was really pushing hard to get 200 deliveries, but I wasn't getting stuff done that I really needed to around my own personal house. So I had to cut it back down to where I'm just part-time. So go ahead and try to slowly get your 200 before you even think about being a Top Dasher. It's just going to drive you crazy trying to get all these numbers and stuff and maintain them, and you're not going to get 200 in 1 month. It's going to be very hard. Very few people do it unless they just drive like all day, every day, time in and time out, and they're in very good areas. Very hard to do for us part-timers in rural areas especially. So how do I requalify for this program every month? Once again, you just basically got to meet the criteria all throughout the month until the very last day, and you will continue to carry over as a Top Dasher. It will go month to month. So what rewards do I get for being a part of this program? Programs can vary by the region and will likely change over time, but currently they are testing the following rewards in all available regions. So the first perk is you're going to have the option to dash anytime. So regardless of whether or not it is busy as a Top Dasher, you are always welcome to schedule a dash and dash now. We highly encourage you to continue scheduling time slots in order to avoid having too many dashers on the road. So basically, when your map's gray, you're not allowed to dash as a normal dasher. If you don't get a scheduled time in, you will not get to dash. The app will not let you log in. That's one bad thing I hate about it, because it forces me to schedule myself in order to be able to dash, especially in small rural towns. If you get 3 of us wanting to dash at the same time, the people who are scheduled to dash will be the ones who get to dash. If you're that last guy and you waited last minute thinking you're going to dash now, chances are you might not get to dash. This is one decent perk, because you can log in and dash no matter what. But at the same time, you got to look at the downside. If you pull up into a gray area, it's not busy. So what's the real benefit of being able to dash? The only thing I see benefit-wise is being able to dash whether there's too many dashers or not already in the area. So then next, it says you're going to also get more deliveries. So when things are slower, you will be prioritized for new orders. This means that if we have 2 nearby dashers who can take an order, we will break the tie in your favor because you're a top dasher. Now, I'm not sure how this works if you get 2 or 3 dashers that are top dashers in the same section. Well, I mean, what does it go by, the highest ratings? No one knows. It's kind of a unknown factor right now, but also there's some negatives to this. I do like that I get the first look over the other 2 guys who aren't top dashers when a new order pops in the system, because I'm getting the first look at it and I can decline it or not, and I can do better with my earnings that way. But another factor that you got to look at too is when you get into that system, it's going to hit you with every order. So you're getting first look. So like, I noticed on my first day of using it, I was sitting on the other end of town, way far away from Walmart. And generally when I'm on that one area and I wasn't a top dasher, I was only getting orders that were closest to me. So I kind of had factored Walmart out. But it seems like now that I'm a top dasher, I'm seeing orders from the other end of town. So I was getting hit with Walmart left and right. And I was having to decline those. So it kind of made a negative stink in my book, because I wasn't catching those orders before firsthand when I wasn't a top dasher. So to me, there's a lot of stuff that still could be worked out on this. There's still some changes that need to be done. And overall, I haven't worked with it long enough to give you a true opinion on it, but I'll get back to you on that in a different video. But basically, that's how you can do it. Those are the steps and tips that I use so that you can put them to work for you and hopefully become a top dasher as well. And I'm going to continue to work with it and let you know whether or not I think it is a successful rewards program in my book and area for a rural dasher. So that's going to be it, guys. If you like my video, I'd appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. I spend a lot of time working on these videos and editing them and stuff. Also, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscription button. We can go through this DoorDasher program together, and hopefully we can learn from each other and better ourselves. Help use this app to make more money for you and myself. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Y'all have a good one.